Welcome to the Old Man's Corner. Grab a chair and a cup of coffee and come on in. Today I'm going to be talking about memories again. I remember as I was growing up, we always had, basically always had a station wagon so that we could all pile in it and go where we need to go. Usually on Sundays, my dad would gather us all up and we'd get in the car, and sometimes we'd take picnic lunches and we'd go for what we call the Sunday ride. He'd go wandering, driving around on the back roads and then on to different little towns there in Kansas. And he'd be driving through, and if he saw like a yard sale or a rummage sale or an antique shop or something, and he'd often stop and go in and look around, and him and Mom and go in looking around. Seldom did I ever see him buy much, but I also remember during that time that he was smoking his pipe, so we had to kind of roll the windows down as we were going along to let some fresh air in, because that pipe smoke was nice smelling, but too much of it wasn't really good for us, but and we kind of knew that, so we rolled the windows down. But we all loaded up, and we always kind of took off on a Sunday and just drove around for hours. Several times, like I said, he either had a picnic lunch packed up, or I know he would stop and go into a grocery store and usually pick up either some bologna and bread and chips, or hot dogs and bread and chips, and then we drive along, and he just pull off the side of the road and drop the tailgate, and then we would set up. Mom would get up, set up, sandwiches and chips, and we'd just sit around right there on the side of the road wherever it was at, and have a little picnic. Sometimes we'd stop at little parks, roadside parks, and set up and have little picnics. It was just one of those things that it was good because it was the entire family was out and about and just enjoying the ride. Sometimes on Sunday also, after the ride was over, we'd stop at Peter Pan ice cream, which I don't even know, I don't think it even exists anymore. And he'd get us an ice cream. And usually I got, which I thought was the best that it had, it was orange pineapple sherbet. That was my favorite ice cream of all. But later on, as we were out doing our rides and stuff, they closed down Peter Pan and opened up Dairy Queen. So my dad would get us what we call the 25-cent cone. It was that soft serve vanilla ice cream, but it was stacked high. It was big. That was the big one that you could get. And of course we could eat on those for a long time. And then that was the day, and we'd listen to music. Mom would like to listen to country and country gospel, so we listened to that out on the ride a lot of times. And kids always sat in the back seat, and we sat and talked a little bit, and it was just an enjoyable time. So I look back on that, and I remember those were good times, and they happened more often as we were younger. Of course, as we got a little older, everybody went their separate ways, and we didn't do that as much. But I know I've heard of other people say that they used to go out on what they call Sunday rides just to look at things. And even today, occasionally my son and I and my grandson will go out on a Sunday and go out, drive out by lakes or out on the back roads and stuff. And other people in my life, they know I like to be out on the back roads and stuff. I don't know. I think I probably grew up out on the back roads, and a lot of people have. So if you've had these type of experiences, And the family went out on Sunday rides and did things, or just had Sunday get-togethers and did things. Let me know. Tell me about them. Leave me a story down in the comments. And I'd love to hear those stories because everybody has a different story. Well, y'all have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.